This is NDTV and you are watching NDTV Prime.
Hi folks, and welcome to a brand new episode of CNB Bazaar Buzz here on the NDTV network. I am Siddharth Vinayak Patankar, and as always there's quite a lineup. So first up, let's take a look at what's coming up on today's program. The Tata Hexa is getting popular. It takes on the benchmark, the Toyota Innova. We ride the new Triumph Bobber here at home, and it's a new bus model from BharatBenz. So it's always nice to get a nice splash of color at the top of the show, and as you may have guessed, we are inside a dealership for motorcycles. Why? Well, it's a brand we haven't really featured too much and talked about, and so today you get a chance to take a look at the Renegade series, and you'll get glimpses of that right through the program. Let's get started then and first talk about that big fight between the Innova and the Hexa. Now the Hexa has driven in with rave reviews. There's lots of anticipation, expectation, and a lot of buzz around Tata's latest product. But is it good enough to take on the segment benchmark, the mighty Toyota Innova, the Crysta as it's called now? Ameya Naik has been trying to find out.
It's the big battle of the big seven-seaters. The second-gen Innova with its Crysta name and the recently launched Tata Hexa are heating up this competition in the segment.
Well, for one, it's a second generation, the other a second coming. While this one, the Innova, wants to shed the image of its predecessor of an MPV and become an SUV, the Hexa wants to shed the image of the Aria and actually take the genes of the SUV. Both are styled aggressively and in fact packed in with features quite similarly. Both are diesel automatics, and that's what we are driving today. Diesel automatic seven-seaters, the need of the hour in India. And we're about to find out how well these two perform against each other.
The Hexa gets a commanding view up front. Once inside, you notice how much Tata has really worked on the fit and finish of the interior. It is probably the best we've seen on a Tata product yet. Ergonomically, the Tata Hexa suffers a bit as it becomes a task to operate the touchscreen system and aircon controls from the driver's seat, as they are placed a bit too low. Compared to the Hexa then, the Innova Crysta's dashboard is sophisticated and detailed. It's classy and the attention to detail has to be applauded. The swooping dash makes a good impression. All the buttons are right there for your perusal. The touchscreen is intuitive to use and displays various information like satellite navigation, Bluetooth telephony, and music system controls. Both cars are equally comfortable up front, but once you get to the middle row, the Innova is the most spacious of the two. Even though they're classified as seven-seaters, both can carry 5 adults and probably 2 kids. But the Innova has better access to the third row. The luggage space on offer is fairly good in both, but the Innova has a lower loading lip and a flat bay. The Hexa's third row seating, once down, cannot be described as completely flat. There are a lot more features on the Innova Crysta too, as it gets electrically powered driver's seat, satellite navigation and push button start, all of which go missing on the Hexa. There are 7 airbags on the Innova Crysta as compared to 6 on the Hexa. And stuff like traction control, ESP and hill descent control go missing on the automatic variant of the SUV. But will the Hexa redeem itself when it comes to the engine?
Now the Hexa gets a lower displacement engine, that is a 2.2 litre 4-cylinder engine, but it churns out about 154 bhp. Now that is less than that of the Innova, but still there's enough and more power pushing you because there's 400 Newton meters of torque at your disposal, and that's pretty good. It's the same engine as on the Safari Storm, and that torque is available from close to 1800 RPM. That's actually pretty good. Let's get one thing straight. There's the 6-speed torque converter gearbox at your disposal, but yes, there is a delay in the power that goes to the wheels. That's pretty annoying because when you are overtaking someone, you want that power at your disposal and you don't get it. There is a bit of lag, and yes, it can be a bit annoying.
However, the Innova has an answer to that.
Yes, the Innova is more powerful than the Hexa. That's it. 171 brake horsepower coming out of the 2.8 litre engine, but the torque figures are less. There's 360 Newton meters as compared to 400 coming from the Hexa. But the pulling power comes early, so there's more power available to you at 1200 RPM. That's what matters. And this 6-speed gearbox is actually better than that of the Hexa because it's refined. It gives you enough power when you want it, when you want to push it. What is disappointing though is the ride quality, because it's a little up and down. It's on the softer side as compared to the Hexa, and that's why you have these when you know the bump absorption, so to say, doesn't really happen. You get a little bounce in the suspension.
But when it comes to ride quality, the Hexa wins hands down. The long travel of the suspension absorbs all the potholes and is calm and collected as it goes over big bumps. There's no drama or jerks that you feel inside the cabin. The Innova delivers a somewhat plain ride, but when compared to the Hexa, it's a bouncy ride inside, and that's because of the stiff suspension. Of course, this also makes sure that it doesn't roll much when you turn around a corner. But finally is the price that's the biggest differentiator of all. On one hand, we have the Innova Crysta automatic variant, which costs 21,19,000 rupees. The automatic variant of the Hexa costs 4 lakh rupees less. While the Hexa wins points for its looks, ride quality and even build quality, it loses points for the sloppy gear shifts, the lazy engine, and even the missing features. The Innova Crysta is more versatile and has been packed with features justifying the price tag. Add that to Toyota's long-standing reputation of bringing in reliable products and great after-sales service as also good resale value, and the picture becomes a lot clearer.
So the battle of those UVs there, and tell us what you think of that new Hexa and whether it really stands up against the Innova Crysta. Now, Toyota has recently launched the Touring Sport Edition of the Innova Crysta, so there's something more to throw into that mix. I want to now talk about the bike I'm sitting on. This is the Renegade Commando. It plays up on the whole classic retro element really, and that's not just because of the OG paint job. You can get other colors in it, but it is that element really that draws people in, and it's exactly what Triumph is hoping as well with the new Bobber. It doesn't get more classic and retro than the Bobber is, and it certainly adds a whole new dimension to the Bonneville family.
By the garage-built stripped-down bikes called Bob Jobs, the Triumph Bobber is essentially a T120 stripped off its bodywork, but that's where the similarities end. The Bobber gets a longer wheelbase, New chassis, new suspension and wheels, and completely new design. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous motorcycle. Any angle you look at it, it oozes desirability. But it's the attention to detail on the bike that makes it stand out. The single-board instrument console is classic but informative, and the bar end mirrors keep things tidy while the single-seat pan hides the concealed rear shock underneath. The rear wheel hub design is inspired by drum brake styling, although the bike sports a rear disc brake. There's an authentic classic battery box too, complete with a stainless steel strap, and the throttle bodies are designed like old school carbs, all very neatly done.
This is an absolutely stunning motorcycle to look at, isn't it? Just look at this beautiful, beautiful bike. Paint quality is excellent, the overall fit and finish top-notch. The styling may be inspired by the 1940s bobbers, but keep in mind, this is an absolutely modern motorcycle. It's got ride-by-wire, it's got ABS, it's got standard traction control, the works. Triumph has really taken the modern classic game to a whole new level with this, the new Bonville bobber.
Start her up, and the twin slash cut. These shooter silencers make a classic hot rod sound from the parallel twin. The torque assist clutch has a light feel at the lever, making city riding easy, and the gears on the 6-speed transmission are precise and slick. The seating position isn't uncomfortable and feels quite natural. But keep in mind, this is a rider-only bike and is not designed to carry a pillion. Out in the open road, you can have a relaxed cruise at 100 km per hour at an effortless 2500 RPM. But open the throttle and the torque, all 106 Newton meters of it, pulls you with urgency. The bobber will amaze you with its performance and acceleration.
The engine may be derived from the Bonville T120, but this one makes more torque, more power, lower in the rev range. What that means is you don't need to change gears too frequently. You can ride it very sedately and cruise comfortably in a very legal speed. And when you need the performance, whack open the throttle and it will keep you entertained all day long. Now it handles really well also despite the long wheelbase. Suspension is a little on the stiffer side. What that means that on Indian roads, you'll feel every bump, every pothole while you go through it. And then there's the ground clearance. It's a little too small, the ground clearance is very less, so you have to be careful while going over speed bumps.
The fuel tank capacity is just over 9 litres, and on our combined test ride, including city and highway riding, the bobber returned over 21 kilometers per litre. That translates to over 190 kilometers of range on a tank full of fuel. Not bad at all. So is Bobber the bike for you? At 9,09,000 rupees ex-showroom Delhi, the Bobber offers very good value for money. If you're into cruiser-type bikes and also want to make a style statement with your ride. It's a head-turner, yes, and every time you open the throttle, it's got the performance to keep you grinning from ear to ear. And the handling to match too. Although you do have to keep a lookout for those nasty potholes. So go on then, take a test ride. Get a Bob job.